Hey there, Daryl Olson again from the Jackson Fishing Team, and the fly that we're going to be tying our second night on the Great Smoky Mountain trip will be the Bill's Provider, and it's a stonefly imitation. It's going to be heavy, which you might want some heavy flies for the deeper pools. It was Bill was Bill Hale, and he's the one who came up with this fly. And again, it happens to be in Kevin Howell's book, Flies of the Great Smoky Mountains. But I think this fly was originally tied for out west, where it was used, and somehow it seems to work in the Smoky Mountains. So let's take a look at it. So this is what Bill Hale's Provider looks like. I guess maybe it's a good fly, maybe similar to Howell's Trip Saver. And Provider might mean it's going to catch a lot of fish, provide meals, maybe provide that ultimate fish that you want to catch. But I'm not sure. I'm just stretching the imagination on there. But we're going to go through and tie this fly and explain the materials as I go along, and of course the materials will be in the description of this video. Alright, so let's get tying. The hook we're going to put in the barb is going to be a streamer hook. It's 4XL and a size 6. And this fly you can tie anywhere from a 6 to a 12. And I'm tying it in a 6 only because it makes it easier to look at. We're going to tie it at the lodge in a size 6 because some of the guys that we've got fishing have issues with tying small flies. So we're just going to tie this one a little bit bigger and have some fun with it. We're going to put about 15 wraps or so of lead-free wire in .035. We want this fly to sink if you're coming across a deep pool, or maybe you might just want to go less weight if your systems that you're fishing 13, 14, 15, smaller diameter lead-free wire, or and if you're not fishing such deep, maybe smaller wire, lead wire on there. And I got a little heavy part on there. I'm just going to use my pliers so I don't poke my skin. Thread we're going to use is going to be 6/0 in Chartreuse. You could probably use whatever color you want, but it creates a hot spot up by the head. And we'll start the thread maybe an eye width behind, and we're going to try to taper up to that lead, and use part of the thread to help lock it in on top. And of course we'll try to build up some thread dam here for a transition so it doesn't drop off so quickly. And also this will help shape the body a little bit, you know, a cigar shaped body, which is kind of cool body to have, I guess. And I'm going to go ahead and finish it just where we're in the middle there on that part. The next material we want is some brown rubber legs. I'm using medium brown, rubber brown. And I'm going to trim off a section, so there's like two, I don't know if you can see the ridge there, but there's two pieces there. And we're going to kind of divide that in half and try to keep the rubber legs up on top. On top of the lead wraps. And also using that to help taper up the drop-off point. And here I'm going to awkwardly keeping that rubber legs on top. Sorry about covering up the camera lens. And there you can see how that rubber is staying up on top. The next piece of material we're going to do is we're going to do some extra small ultra wire in black. You could use gold, but I couldn't find extra small in gold, so I went with the black. I think this is really what the recipe is calling for, is just to help reinforce the other materials. Because with the Peacock Curl body, I don't even think you could even see the gold so well, unless you wanted to beef up your and I'm going to fold that dog in so I don't pull this out. Yeah, put that in my material clip. Don't pull too hard on that extra small. It's like thread. You can tear that by hand. You don't need to cut it. And the next is calls for a brown hackle, and you can use strong hackle. I'm going to use something off of this cape. And I'm going to clean off the fuzzy stuff here. And then I'm gonna tie the tip in. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what I'm gonna do. The book really doesn't tell you. Next we're going to use some Peacock Curl. You're going to want 6 to 8. Try to pick out your longest ones. And we're going to tie the tips in. Want to keep them as long as possible. It's a lot of material. I've learned that we're going to tie this off. Have to wrap this all the way up. Finish the thread about maybe 2 eye widths there, and then I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to twist this up as I'm wrapping forward. In fact, I'm going to even just so that they do separate, I'm going to bring my thread, leave it at the middle there. And while I'm wrapping, it's going to unwrap a little bit, but twist it up a little bit. And as you can see, it's forming a pretty good tapered body. And then I'm going to tie this off. And try to cut it a little bit at a time, but you know, they're pretty fragile. Done there. Next we're going to take our hackle pliers and we're going to wrap that brown hackle. On there, and I'm just gonna lift it up and wet my fingers and try to fold these back. Sorry about that. I'll probably give it one full turn here where the tail is, and then I'm going to wrap it up to the head. Open spiral wraps, kind of like you do on a woolly bugger. finish it off right there. Give it a couple thread wraps over. And trying to trim that off a little bit. And next we're going to take that wire here and we're going to counter wrap it. Don't pull too tight on there. And like I said, this is primarily just to reinforce it. Even though the rib of the and by wiggling it, you should be able to not trap so many fibers. If it looks like you're going to trap some, use your fingers to maybe rub some out of there. And then we'll tie this off, this wire off. And then take the excess off. You could probably pull on it, but you don't know. You could end up pulling it too hard. Next we're going to go ahead and build up our head a little bit. You know, after all, it is like a nymph, and the head is going to be the hot spot with this color. So you could probably use other bright colors if you want. Or if you didn't want a hot spot, you'd probably get by with black or a brown. Give it a whip finish. Well, before I do that, yeah, the whip finish. Trim that off. And then the legs, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to fold it back just to look and see where a hook shank length is and cut it off. About a hook shank, both the front and the back, the tail and the antennae. Put a little head cement on there. And then use your bodkin to split the tail. And the antennae. And there you have it. Bill's Provider. Hopefully it'll provide some trout for you. And hopefully it'll provide some trout for me on my trip to the Smoky Mountains. Alright. I hope you give this fly a try. You know, it's another stonefly, you know, maybe a little bit hairier than Pat's rubber legs, or maybe even Howell's Trip Saver, you know, but this is a little heavier fly. I think it'll sink a little bit better, faster in the deeper water and the faster water, but I'd give it a try. Hopefully I'll have some reports on how well these flies are working for me in a few weeks. Alright, this is Daryl Olson from the Jackson Fishing Team signing off, and we'll see you on the water.